Okay, everybody, here's your fall update. Just want to walk through this stuff with you as quick as we can, and you can see that this is attached in the email. So here's your Digital Neighborhoods update. First of all, thank you so much to those of you who have been hosting all of this time. A few of you are going to take a break after the summer, so thank you so much to all of you, and huge thank you to those of you who are staying on for the fall. It's going to be an important way, I think, for people to connect. And as you've heard me say, I just feel like it's almost like a spiritual discipline for us to stay connected, even in ways that are not the way we would choose, but it's going to be super important as we go into the rest of these months. So as you know here, let's start this going. Okay. This is the fall schedule. You can go to millcitychurch.com/schedule to see which are physical digital Sundays and which are digital only Sundays. And we'll do our best to keep that updated online as we go, but these are the plans, the planned ones for the rest of the fall. Okay, so here's a little bit behind the scenes for you all as far as the schedule for physical digital and digital only. So for physical digital, there's still going to be prayer on Zoom with Pastor Donna, but she's also going to be there at Quincy, so people could come in person as well. And then people will start to arrive. We really want people to arrive by 10 so that we can get settled. There's going to be a pre-show of sorts with everybody who's there live at physically, and then we'll go live digitally for the worship service from 10:30 to 11:30. That's a change, 10:30 starting this Sunday. To arrive by 10 to come to Quincy Hall. And then we're going to do what we're calling neighborhood connection time, which I'm going to share about in just a minute. Digital only will be the schedule like this: prayer on Zoom from 9 to 10. The countdown that you've seen before will go from 10:15 to 10:30 so people can get online, Facebook and YouTube, just like we've always done, except that now it's at 10:30. And then the worship service will be from 10:30 to 11:30. And then digital neighborhoods, as we've shared with you already, would be 11:30 to 12 on those 2 Sundays a month, basically. So there's basically 2 physical digital, 2 digital only. They're not quite every other because of scheduling conflicts at Quincy Hall. So that's why people need to pay attention to it, but it will be every other for the first few weeks, okay? So pay attention to that, please. Now, equipping hours is going to start in October. Some people have asked. We just needed to get this under our belt, so stay tuned. If you're teaching a class, we've talked about that, or if you are interested in taking one, we'll get back to you. They might be during that 9 to 10 o'clock hour, but most of them probably won't because of just Zoom fatigue for that long on a Sunday. So they'll meet at different times like the summer intensives did. Here's what the neighborhood connection time is all about. The idea is that people will be sitting near people geographically. You've probably seen that when they come to help us social distance. And so we want people to have a connection time right after the service. Community time actually won't work for people to talk to each other because there will be the live feed. And so it just won't work. We might actually encourage people to grab their phone and jump onto Facebook and answer the question that way. But I think interaction time is going to be desired. We definitely heard that when we did our dry run a couple weeks ago. And so creating a little bit of space for those who want to stay and talk for just a few minutes, I think will be great. I mean, I put 11:30 to 12, but so really we're trying to think about the people who don't already have relationships. If you come and you've got relationships at Mill City, you might be excited to see some people you haven't seen yet, but there's going to be plenty of people who don't feel that way or don't know if people that they know are coming. And so we're hoping that the sitting geographically could really help with that. Of course, people can find their friends too. So if you came, we wouldn't want you not to do that, of course. And if you are there, which you don't have to be, but if you are choosing to come to Quincy at any time, just please kind of help people who want to participate break into small groups. If you're willing to just look around right when the service is over and help introduce some people, that's really all we're asking. And then we're going to have some discussion questions on the screen, which will include the community time question, because remember, you won't have time to answer that question earlier. And then maybe just a couple other questions. So that people can get into a little dialogue, and then it can end organically. It doesn't have to be the whole half an hour. We're just hoping to encourage connection at that time because people came all the way there. And so to participate in the worship service is great, but also to have a little bit of a connection with people, I think would be really meaningful. So your invitation, we're inviting you to join in that just organically if you happen to come, okay? So here's the next news, and that is that Brooke has put together some more format options for you. And so this is the first one that we have been doing, kind of that sermon reflection, what's giving you life, and that's still an option. But here's 3 others for you to think about. B, dwelling in the Word. Some of you have participated in that before, reading the passage out loud, and we'll give you the passage ahead of time. We'll always have shared that with you in the weekly email. So you can just see what resonate with people, be the passage that was focused on in the sermon. Option C, just like a high or low in prayer request. I think some people have really been just hoping for something a little more simple so that they feel known, and then just actually space for prayer requests has come up quite a bit. And then finally, option D, which is the seeing God move option. Just encouraging people to try to articulate where they've seen God in this week, this last week. So there's some questions there for that. So you could try these, or you could mix them up or do something different. Some of you brought up the idea of having sermon questions that are specific to the sermon. We've done that in the past with groups before. It's actually really hard to do with such a diverse and broad teaching team. And secondly, it's actually really hard to come up with good questions that aren't kind of like leading questions, if you know what I mean, like, hey, this is what you were supposed to get from the sermon, instead of leaving it open to say what stood out to you from the sermon. So that's why we don't have those. If you want to come up with a couple during the time that you're listening to the sermon, that would probably make more sense. So that's up to you, but we're not actually offering that as an option that we're going to work on because we just don't think it's reasonable for us to do that right now. But we wish we could. But so here's the other thing. You can feel free to create other options. So our advice to you is to maybe as a group get together, chatting on their phones or on email with the other hosts and say, hey, do we want to try one of these other options on September 20th, the next time we meet? I think maybe trying them all or trying something else that you've created. And then after doing that a few times, just saying like, hey, what works? Do we like that? Do we want to keep that going? Just do your best to be on the same page about the clarity about that, but it will be in the email every week so that you can choose one of these different options. So let us know if you have any questions about that. Here's some final thoughts for you. First, thank you again for those of you who are staying on. We really appreciate it. Huge thank you to those of you who served this summer who are taking some space. We hope you still participate in the neighborhood, but there's just a few of you, but we're so grateful for you. And then I just want to encourage you to do this. I want you to pray about your role in the organic aspect of the neighborhood. All right. There's not any specific expectations that I have or we have as a team. I just want everyone to pray about what is my role in keeping people connected, in checking in on people, in looking out for people. If you pray about it and you feel like, look, I've got a lot on and God's just giving me, I need to focus on my kids or whatever, totally fine. I'm just asking that people pray about it and follow the Holy Spirit, because maybe God puts on your heart, you need to text a couple people a week, or you need to be somebody who tries to find an outdoor activity that everybody can do so they actually see people in person. Or maybe you're the one who needs to be open to having people come over to your living room, social distance style, because you feel comfortable with that. So just the few other people that maybe feel comfortable with that, or the few people who really need that. I don't know, but what I do know is that if you ask, God's Spirit will guide you. And that's all we can ask is that you follow that lead. Okay, that's it. We'd love to see people continue to connect organically. Thank you for already doing that, but it's totally up to you. I don't want to heap any expectations on you, except for just asking God what your role is, not just in the neighborhood, but in connecting with people socially and spiritually this winter, because it's going to be super important. And then I'm just inviting you to pay close attention to people who are new to Mill City. We've had probably a dozen new people join since the pandemic started. Some of them have connected with neighborhoods. Some of them have connected online. Some people came to the block party. So paying attention at Quincy Hall, if you're there, in your neighborhood, if somebody new comes, just really trying to go out of our way, because it's very difficult to build new relationships right now. I think it's pretty cool that people might be joining our church during this time. Don't hesitate to give us feedback. Let us know. Send me, Brooke, and Steph emails, or just one of us, and we'll talk about it as a team. Okay, we really want to know what feedback you have, and we'll do the best we can to continue to do this as best as we can, even though it's still round 2 of the experiment. And then Brooke is going to start sending the emails in October, so just FYI about that. As I've been kind of organizing it and she's been doing that with me, I think it'll be a natural thing for her to be able to keep sending those consistent emails and updating the website the way that I have been, so you can always find that information. So that's our final thoughts for you. Once again, thank you so much for your investment in this. Gosh, I know everyone's got a lot happening. I know it's not maybe everyone's favorite half an hour of the week, but I just feel it's been super important, and it's going to be more important as we keep going. So do everything we can to continue to create space and connection, and that's all we can do. But I'm so thankful. I know that if we stay in this together, we can do it. We can get through no matter anything we're facing if we do it together. So thank you so much, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.